Ladies and gents, welcome to the video. I'm GetGoodGuy and we're back on Battlefield 5 again today, and today we're talking about the weapon type that I believe is set to rise again to dominate the game when the TTK update comes in the 6.2 update. At least that's when we believe it will happen. But before we get into that, two quick things. Firstly, if the audio sounds a bit weird today, it's because we're currently dealing with Storm Sierra. Is that what it's called? Sierra? Either way, it's very, very loud outside, so I don't know if that's going to alter the audio today or not at this point, but if you can hear it, then I apologize, but I couldn't wait for the weather to stop being annoying. Secondly, my previous video to this one was about snipers, and I was talking about two bolt action rifles having their velocities buffed. Well, it turns out the DICE maybe kind of made an error, and that's why only two were getting buffed. It looks like all or most of the velocity is going to get buffed on bolt action rifles soon. Yeah, it's very hard to keep up with what DICE are doing. Their communication is a little wavery, not good, basically. So to summarize that one, velocities are going to be better on all bolt action rifles, we now believe. I think that will help with the disparity between bolt actions and the other weapons in the game, but I don't think it'll be enough still to bring them in line in terms of efficiency and overall power output. But to today's topic, which weapon type am I talking about coming back to the fore to dominate? Well, it's the semi-auto rifles of the assault class. Yep, this is me preparing you for the likely meta of the next TTK update. So you can get some practice in if you want, or at least just be on the ball when the update drops so you can get an advantage over the competition. Now this video today is a combination of information from other sources and also just my logical extrapolation from the known facts and insinuated changes. What I want you to do is think back to before the TTK was changed. And by that I mean when it was initially changed, before they made everything kill much more slowly and range fights weren't really a thing anymore. Back to when the guns were powerful. What was it that was the versatile choice for most players on a lot of modes, on a lot of maps? It was the semi-auto rifles of the assault class. Why? Well, because of how most maps are constructed on this game. Long sight lines, open areas, a lot of engagements happening in the mid-range. So let's say, I think the average is like 22 or 25 meters or something. And that's the average. So there are fights beyond that, of course, and fights closer than that. But generally, a lot of fights are falling right in that sweet spot where semi-autos were the dominant force. And with the 6.2 update taking us back to something approaching at least the previous TTK, well, it's only logical to expect these guns to rise to the top of the pile again. Now the footage I'll show you in this video is of the Carabin and the AGM/42, two semi-autos that I think are absolutely fantastic, but of course it comes down to your personal preference. Those were just the two I chose to use, and I think they're really great. They're worth you having a look at if you haven't before. But this is all recorded on the current TTK. I was able to do all of this even with autos right now being the meta choice, things like the STG for example. The point being that semi-autos should be even better than what you're watching right now once that update comes into place. But why do I think that? Beyond just the logical extrapolations that I've already explained. Well, with the current meta being autos, there's got to be a reason for that, right? We see the STG, we see the grease gun, we see the Type 2A, sometimes the Sturmgewehr, and they're hitting people at pretty long ranges. But why is this happening? Well, it's because of the lack of recoil in the game at the minute. Everything shoots like a laser beam. But part of the changes coming into place with the 6.2 update are apparently changes to recoil to make the guns a little bit harder to use again. Now we don't know how extreme that's going to be or how wide ranging, but it's definitely going to play a factor. And if DICE know what they're doing, and I really hope they do, the recoil changes will mean that autos, full auto weapons this is, will be reined back into closer ranges. So close to mid-range rather than basically any range, because at the minute you can use them pretty much wherever you want. Sure, it might take a lot of shots to hit people, but if your aim is true and you can stay on target, then eventually you'll drop them. And a lot of people don't need to use semi-autos at the minute. Semi-autos have kind of fallen out of favor because why bother? So yes, even though a lot of guns will require less bullets to kill now, they should be harder to handle, and semi-autos will be lethal again. They're not going to take many bullets to kill still. Probably looking at 3 or 4 bullets to kill. I do know some of the values actually, but I can't talk about them yet. But trust me, semi-autos are going to be very good. I think there's actually an issue with the balancing that I've heard proposed so far, which will make semi-autos potentially a bit too powerful. But yeah, usually 3 or 4 bullets to kill. You can pace your shots. You don't have to deal with the wild recoil of using a full auto weapon, even though generally weapons have never been very hard to handle in this game anyway. But still, it's an advantage, and 2-shot headshots with certain semi-autos as well is a big deal. Is it all semi-autos or some? I don't know. Regardless, something like the AGM-42 fires quickly, is very stable, and can 2-shot headshot at all ranges. That is extremely potent, I think, even now, but especially if things are harder to use again in the next update. Ignoring, of course, the snap lock-on, auto-rotation, aim assist, whatever you want to call call it, with a controller, which is going to make it easier to at least land your initial damage. But there's nothing we can do about that other than keep talking about it. It looks like that's set to stay, so we're just going to work with that. Regardless, if you want to get out there and get used to using semi-autos again, I think it'd be a great idea. I've had no problems going back to them, although you do feel at a disadvantage right now because things like the STG are so easy to use, even at a range where generally before a semi-auto would have been superior. But it can still be done, and they'll be better again soon, by comparison. My advice would be pick the right one for your playstyle / the situation you're in. So if you just want lots of ammo, maybe go Self-Sladder 1916. If you want a quick 2-shot headshot, then the AGM/42. If you want a lack of recoil, then the Carabin, because it's nice and stable. There are different ones that do different things, try them out. Beyond just use one that you think is good, there's more to it, of course. Some of you will have to get used to using one again, because at the minute, with the meta being full auto weapons, a lot of the time you can just run into any situation and just smash people down from any range. No real thought about situation, about the range you're at, about how to handle the situation. A lot of the time it's just who reacts first. So what you need to do if you want to get back into semi-autos is start controlling your range and your engagements again. Sticking to mid-range is good. Peak shooting with cover is very good, because semi-autos are way better at that than full autos, so you can peek out, take a shot, peek in. You can decide when you want to land damage and when you want to take cover and control the engagements. So move cover to cover. It's very important with semi-autos. Mid to long range is your friend. Going on nice flanks are also your friend, as long as you're still controlling that distance. And ping a headshot where possible. If you've got the opportunity to take your time to land headshots and be more efficient, then do it. If not, then go for the body. But if you can drop a headshot into your engagement, your time to kill is cut massively. Headshot damage is huge in this game, especially with something like a semi-auto. Now, of course, when the update comes in, it won't just be semi-autos everywhere. It never has been, of course, even when they were the dominant force. Aside from MMGs back then, but that's a different topic for a different day. Semi-autos will still have to compete with likely self-loading rifles, which I still think are fantastic, I think have always been fantastic, and will probably continue to be fantastic even after the TTK update. Something like the ZH29 in the right hands is extremely powerful. They are probably more lethal than semi-autos, to be honest with you, but they have to reload more often and are a bit less versatile. So semi-autos are kind of like the easier option, the less mechanic-driven option, where you've got to consider reloads and who you want to take shots at and who you don't want to take shots at, and if you miss, you're in trouble, etc. But yes, you will have to contest things with self-loading rifles. Bolt action rifles will be a competitor, but semi-autos are just going to be better than bolt actions again. As I talked about in my previous video, a bolt action rifle is a skill weapon, it's a fun weapon. In the right hands it can be very good, but it is not on a level playing field, and semi-autos are about to pull right past them again in the next update. I fully expect that to happen. The STG will probably still be a very good, versatile, full auto option. LMGs will probably be back to being pretty potent, but overall, for versatility, for movement, for being able to run and gun and play defensive, for not needing many bullets to land your shots, for being reasonably forgiving, semi-autos will be the way to go for a lot of people, and I highly recommend you get used to them again now if you want to dominate when the time comes. Now, we will revisit topics like this probably when the update comes into play. If I'm wrong, then fine, but I don't expect to be at all. And we'll also talk about what else is good then, how good semi-autos are at that point, as good as I think, better, maybe, possibly. And we'll go through the stats at that point as well, which I can't mention currently. Just remember that with everything I've said, it still does come down to how you play, what you're good with, and who you're up against. If you go running at close range with a semi-auto, and you're up against competent people with the Thompson or the Type 2A or whatever, you're still going to get destroyed. This is not an easy mode rifle at all ranges. It's just going to be the versatile option. And so with that said, I hope that's helpful, I hope you enjoyed. I hope you liked watching some gameplay of someone using a semi-auto rifle, which is very rare at the minute. If you did enjoy the video, hitting the like button would be awesome. Leave me a comment in the comment section of what you think about today's video, or just tell me anything. Tell me anything you like. I love reading your comments. And if you're new here, remember to subscribe for a lot more content coming. I'm on a bit of an upload streak at the minute, don't know if anyone's noticed. I intend to try to carry that on for as long as I can and get these regular uploads out again like I used to. On top of that, all the links to my social media, including Patreon, can be found in the description and my pinned comment. Here is the board of awesome for the epic people that already support me on Patreon. They're all absolute heroes and I love them all deeply and of course, often. If you want to join them on the board of awesome, the link to the Patreon page is in the description and my pinned comment. And with all that said, I'm GetGoodGuy and I'll see you next time. Laters. but still on PC I would say as well. So if you're not aware, buffing the velocity of something means that the bullet will travel faster, meaning you've got easier shots to make. There's less calculations you got to do in your mind in terms of how long it's going to take the bullet to hit the target, so you don't have to lead your shot as much and all that kind of thing, people can't move out of the way, so it makes sniping easier.